you all, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from my bunker 1,861 miles beneath the South. And there's been some shakeups in the old South that we're going to talk about here today. First of all, Dolly Parton's Dixie Stampede, a Southern tourist institution, has decided to change its name. It will no longer be called Dolly Parton's Dixie Stampede. It will now be called Dolly Parton's Stampede. So Dolly Parton, what does that even mean? Dolly Parton stampeding through the open plains? I don't even know. They've decided to remove the word Dixie because they feel that in modern times that word could connotate something negative. Now, I understand that sometimes places have to change with the times. There is a attraction in Chattanooga that I visited called Battles Over Chattanooga. It's like an interactive map and light show that shows Civil War battles. And they were previously called Confederama, which is hilarious to me, but, you know, it's an outdated term. And I am just not comfortable with the word Dixie being a bad word. I moved to the South in 2000. It's been 18 years ago. This is my home. This is a place that I'm proud to live. It's a geographical location. It is, I mean, and I've talked to some friends about this that agree. It's like, if it was Dolly Parton's New England Stampede, would that be offensive? I don't like, I mean, how is the South so tainted from the Civil War that we're not even allowed to let it exist? I mean, come on. I mean, you're allowed to, Germany got to be called Germany still. Why can't the South still be Dixie? To me, Dixie is just another name for the South. It's a nickname for the South. I had a cat named Dixie. She was a wonderful cat. I don't want to badmouth Dolly here, because Dolly is a genuine Southern goddess. And, you know, she does not single-handedly own Dixie Stampede or Dollywood. She's co-owns it along with an amusement park management company. So I'm sure this is not like Dolly made this decision on her own, and yeah, I can't speak for Dolly, but I feel like probably she wouldn't have changed it on her own, but that's just a guess. I can't guess. So in these troubling times, we want to be sensitive. We want to not hurt people's feelings, but you know what? It hurts my feelings that this place, Dixie, that I love so much, that you're gonna treat it like it's a bad word? Come on. Let's you know, sometimes you hear people say, well, where do you draw a line? Where is the line drawn? And I'm saying this is where I draw the line. Right here. Right here. When you say that Dixie is a word you can't say anymore. Are we allowed to call the South? Are we allowed to say the South? I mean, when you drive in to North Carolina, is the state sign just going to say, welcome to a state? I mean, this is madness. And I've poked fun at the Dixie Stampede before. If you haven't been, it's kind of an odd concept. You sit on one side or the other, north or south, and if you're on the south side, you cheer for the Confederates. If you're on the north side, you cheer for the Union. And they call it a friendly rivalry when it was the bloodiest war in American history. Yeah, it's kind of what. And I don't know, maybe they may end up changing the whole show. It's just called Stampede now, so maybe it's just going to be a bunch of stampeding cows. I don't know. Be very interesting. I may have to go when it opens up next season to get a good look at what they've changed, what they've kept the same. Oh man, it's gotta stick in a lot of people's craws. And I'll tell you what, if you are offended by Confederate imagery, Confederate names, celebration of the Confederacy, please don't go to Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg, every t-shirt shop is going to have a Confederate flag with a bass in the middle hanging in a window. You could literally, you literally can't go 10 feet. Anywhere you are, you're 10 feet from a Confederate flag at some point. So, yeah. If Confederate imagery offends you, that's probably a place you should avoid on your vacations. Now, sadly, we have another Southern institution that is coming to an end, and that is Clay's Possum Drop. Now, Clay's Corner is this gas station in Brasstown, North Carolina, that for the past 14 years has been doing a possum drop. I've been there on 2 different occasions, and what that is they have a possum in a cage. He's up on a pole, and they lower him at New Year's Eve on midnight, and the possum touches the ground at midnight, much like the ball dropping in New York. Now, this event has caused massive controversy, national controversy, over the past few years. The animal rights organization PETA has done everything that they could to stop the possum drop, saying it was cruel to drop the possum. And it wasn't dropped, it was slowly lowered, and then they released the possum. I think it started that Clay Logan, the man that ran the possum drop, was getting a special permit to own the possum. He had everything in order, but PETA did some legal maneuvering and found out that the agency that was giving him the permit did not have the legal authority to give him that permit. They had possum drops where he covered up the cage and wouldn't say if there was a possum in it or not. But then actually a lawmaker in North Carolina passed a special law that basically, it's such a bizarre law. It took basically unprotected the possum from any form of neglect or abuse for a week every year. Almost like they created a possum purge. No one could get in trouble for doing anything to a possum 1 week out of the year. So PETA fought that law as well, and as far as I know, they were still going back and forth in the courts. But Clay's is done. Clay is done. He's no longer going to do the possum drop, and it was not PETA that drove him out of business. The gas station went out of business. It is a gas station, very, very rural gas station. They were still selling VHS tapes, or renting VHS tapes, if that shows you anything. It was an old-timey gas station, and then they could not maintain a business, so it went out of business. He still went ahead and did the possum drop this year, but then announced that this would be the last year. I mean, it's possible. Maybe someone will lift up the possum and reinstate that. It's a sad thing to hear that go for me. When I went, you go there and there's quite a turnout. People from all around closing on this little town to see the charming little possum drop. And I'm an animal lover. I do not feel personally that it is cruel to the possum, but that is my personal beliefs. That may not be your beliefs. I understand that. Now, this might be kind of random to bring up in this video, but I just wanted to say something. Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries, she was in her mid-40s, and she died unexpectedly today. Now, I haven't listened to the Cranberries in quite a while, but when I was a young teenager, that was literally the only thing I listened to. Went back and listened to some Cranberries today, and just talk about a tremendous, encompassing voice. So, really sad. You don't know these people, you don't know who they are, but when you listen to their voice every single day, they do a little part of them becomes part of you. So for me here in my silly little bunker with my silly little hat, we will put this one in the bag.